Mic'd up.
And welcome to another episode of Highlights from Lowlifes on the Mic'd Up app. My name is Jeff Jones. As once again, I will be your host. My co-host tonight, you've seen him lots of times, is Marty Brown.
Good evening, everybody.
And we have a very special episode tonight because we have two very special guests joining us. These are, as you know, our topic tonight is fantasy camps, all things fantasy camps. Our guests are legendary fantasy campers. They are legends in our baseball league. They are legendary beer drinkers. But most importantly, we get to call them our friends. Brent Tetlow and Doug J.C. Penney. Welcome aboard,
folks,
boys.
How are you today? Glad to be here.
Wonderful.
These guys are going to tell some great stories about fantasy camp. They're going to give you all the lowdown on what happens at fantasy camps. As you know, we've all been and we hung out and we made friends out of it. It's a great time. So if you have any comments, make sure you hit that red microphone down at the bottom and leave us an audio comment. We got a bunch already tonight we're going to be going through at the end. Let us know what's going on with you. Let us know if you have any questions about fantasy camp or you have any stories you want to tell about fantasy camp. So
those are good.
First off, what is fantasy camp?
Good question.
So I'm going to give you the high level and I'll let these boys fill you in on some of the details. So fantasy camp is usually put on by Major League Baseball teams, sometimes minor league or just good organizations that they get fans in there to treat you like Major League Baseball players. You spend a week or sometimes 3 days at a professional facility, professional ballpark with professional locker rooms and professional staff on board. And for a whole week, they treat you like a Major League Baseball player. You get uniforms, you get the locker room treatment, you get trainers, and then you go out onto the field with your ex-pros coaches, and they run you through drills, and they teach you how to play baseball, and they give you tips, and then they square your eyes up on teams, and you play a bunch of games against other fantasy campers, and you live out the baseball dream. Marty, what would you like to add about what is fantasy camp?
Fantasy camp is something that every true baseball player needs to go through. And Jeff said it right. Here's your chance after seeing all those games to be the player himself, and it's open to any ability. If we did it, then you can do it, kind of thing.
Well, that's for sure.
And we've had guys that really just love baseball and really had no experience, to guys in a couple of camps that actually thought they had it to make it into organized baseball, getting paid for it, and only to see the coaches just former pros laugh them out of the locker room. You're here. You think you got it? Good luck.
Those ex-pros are good at checking your ego.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And we get a myriad of things. So I'll just leave it at that at first and pass it on to Brent to give us his insight about fantasy camp in general, and then we'll go out from there.
Okay. Well, I got into fantasy camp basically because my sister went in '98, and she came back with all kinds of good stories and lots of new friends, and took a year off, and I was working way too long at my job at that time. And she asked me, she said, I talked to Rob Andrews, and he said that you could come. I've got one spot left. And I said, well, why not? I've been here working too hard. I'm going to do it. So I went down there with her to start. And they really do treat you as a big league player. We flew in to Sky Harbor Airport there in Scottsdale, or in Phoenix, and we got our bags off the plane. They had vans or people there to grab your bag because they gave you tags to put on it that says Giants Fantasy Camper. They pulled it off. So once I landed at the airport, I didn't touch my bags until camp was over. They loaded them on a big bus, and my sister's like, they used to travel with the big leagues. They put us on a bus to take us to the locker room. And or the hotel, I guess, to start with, and have a meet and greet, and then go to the locker room. But they take care of all our stuff. And you had, as a player, you had to sit in the back of the bus because the front was, as you know, for coaches and things. You'd get in trouble if you sat in the front. So it made you feel good. I mean, when you were done with your games, you threw your uni in the basket. You went and took a shower, or went in to get iced down somewhere, and let the trainers work you over a little bit. And when you came back the next day, it was all washed, dried. Your shoes were polished, and they had all back in your locker with your name on it. So
Nice.
it
Yeah.
was fun. Yeah, now the rookie year, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
What do you think, JC? Add a
Well,
little bit.
my first camp was in 1990. It was a Giants fantasy camp, and I got it for my 40th birthday. You can tell how old I am. So I
Damn.
I went and
Nobody gets that old, Marty.
I flew in to Phoenix and got bussed out to a place called the Buttes, which is a hotel, and it's right up the hill from Tempe Diablo Stadium where we played. I remember clearly. Uh, first thing Sunday, we have a cocktail party reception when you arrive, and Mike Sadek, who legendary backup catcher for the Giants, and he was the master of ceremonies and the judge of Kangaroo Court. And so he greeted all of us, bestowed a few nicknames, including mine, JC. And then we got to go to the field on Monday morning. And my biggest impression of fantasy camp was walking in to the locker room, a professional locker room. It was all set up. The clubhouse guys were there, the trainers were there, and you walk to your locker and you see your uniforms hanging up in your locker. You got a nameplate over the locker, and it's first class all the way. And so it started from there and finished with some great games and a game against the pros.
Yep.
Yes.
They don't do that anymore. Most camps don't do that anymore because the pros are getting a little long in the tooth. But that's my major impression of the first camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just for elaborate, what is Kangaroo Court?
Great question, because one of my stories has to do with Kangaroo Court.
Good. All right. So, so what do you guys pick that up? We all know, but explain it to our audience.
I'll go. And in the Major League Clubhouse, it's been a tradition for forever, and it started when they had nothing to do and they were traveling on trains back in the early years of professional baseball. And they brought guys up for doing stupid stuff on the field, making mental errors, not physical errors, but mental errors. And then it evolved into doing stuff off the field, and they got fined, and it was money, and the money would go at the end of the year to the clubhouse guys, just as an additional tip, and it was a great deal, and
it was meant for levity, to camaraderie with the guys, bring everybody together. Occasionally call somebody out for overstepping their ego or overstepping bounds, but for the most part, it was done for levity and camaraderie.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. One of the things that was brought up by all of us is the coaches. So what you get at a fantasy camp is ex-pros, guys that have been there and done that get to coach you and tell you stories and tell you how it was when they played, teach you things that they learned from some of the top minds in baseball throughout the years. And it's an incredible resource of knowledge that they're giving you, but it's also a heck of a fun. You get to see that these guys how much fun they get out of baseball. So with myself and Marty, we went to A's camp. Marty went 1 year before me, and then we went together. And we had the year we were together, we had Mike Moore and Dave Stewart, the A's pitching duo, as our
Oh, that's
coaches.
awesome.
That's
And
great.
these guys were great. They knew that, you know, they might have sometimes been a little busy in some of their you know, like Dave Stewart was just getting a business off the ground, so he was kind of, you know, busy as well. But at the end of the day, these guys knew who they were dealing with and what they wanted out of this. So that's what they gave them. They gave them stories, they gave them coaching, they gave them a good laugh, they gave them a pat on the back sometimes, and you know, if they saw the moment was right, they give them a kick in the butt.
Some of
Absolutely.
those were the
But
best lessons
but
learned.
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it was really the coaches saying, you paid for this. This is your dream. What do you want to do?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And it was a great time for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I could piggyback on that, I learned more from the two fantasy camps than I learned my entire baseball career. And it's just small things that these little nuggets these guys just throw out. If I could use one, we've all been in the infield and it's soft ground balls hit, and we're gonna pick it up with our hand and throw it over to first base. And what they tell you, don't pick it up. And you're looking at what he's talking about. You pick it up, you're going to drop it. Squeeze it into the ground. Just a little second, just for a point, half a second. Don't pick it up. Squeeze it into the ground and come up with a blade of grass with that ball, so you know you got it, and then make the throw. And it's a simple thing, and I passed that along ever since then to working with my nephews, and a couple times I've been asked to help out on coaching assignments for friends, things like it. Like I said, you learn more spending two camps with those pros than you ever learned from anybody else. Great experience.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Great experience.
Yeah. We use those same tips, Marty,
Yeah.
with the young kids that we coach.
Right.
Yeah. We
Exactly.
use the same tip.
Because
Come up with some
also
grass.
for our audience out there, these two gentlemen are also legendary coaches in Elk Grove, right? Is it Elk
Correct.
Grove? There it is. Yeah, there it is.
Elk Grove Babe Ruth. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
So you think they're smart? No, they just listen to the coaches during fantasy camp.
Yeah, and they make sure they coach kids young enough that they don't know any better.
I'll wear
They're
that.
on to us, coach.
So my first coach was Mike McCormick, 1967 Giants Cy Young Award winner, and he coached me in 1990, and he coached me again in 2012, and a couple times in between. Loved Mike McCormick, but he never forgot me for a second from the time he coached me in 1990 till the last year he was there. And it was beautiful. He'd always come up and talk to me, and whether I was on his team or not,
Yeah.
you know, he'd give me his time. He'd provide the tips for pitching for him. You know, I'd ask him about this and that we were doing with the kids, and you know how we should change this or that, and he was always giving about that.
Yeah.
So my,
Very nice.
my
Yeah.
one.
I remember with the coaches, my two coaches, my first time was Gary Lavelle and Greg Mitten. That was a lefty righty combo there.
Nice.
And it was fun. They had great stories. Mitten's a kick. And back then, when you go to camp, they had the veterans play a game, and they had the rookies do drills so that the other coaches could rate you. And then when you go in the draft, they know whether you could hit or catch or throw. And so we did drills. And I remember I'm playing first base on a beautiful field. I think it was number 2 field at Indian School. And Jimmy Davenport's got a fungo and he's hitting me ground balls. And I'm at first base saying, oh my goodness, Jimmy Davenport's going to hit me infield right now. I cannot believe
Nice.
this. I remember watching him at Candlestick Park, whether he was playing third base or whether he was managing. But I said, you can't get any better than this. I don't know how I happened into this. This is just
Nice.
absolutely wonderful. And then Jimmy Ray Hart was hitting me fly balls into the outfield, just making it as easy as he could. It would lob up and come down, and he was very good with a bat.
Yeah.
But those coaches are really something.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate to have very many pairs of coaches going to a lot of these camps. They get some of the best.
Yeah.
And they do it because I think they like the game and they like to see people that are there that enjoy the baseball game also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they come.
You talk about you talk about Jimmy Davenport and Field 2 at Indian School.
Yeah.
That actually was dedicated by the Giants to Jimmy Davenport after he passed. And
Very
Oh,
cool.
his son Gary is still a coach at the fantasy camps.
Yeah.
It's
He pitched
great.
the shutout
Wow.
to his own team.
Yeah.
yeah. My first year, Ron Romanek was one of the coaches. He was major league pitcher for the Red Sox, and then with the A's, and he was the pitching coordinator for the A's during that time, 2007, 2008, and he was one of my coaches, and that's his jersey behind me.
Oh,
They have a little ceremony at the end of the year where they sign the jersey and kind of the shirt off the guy's back as a tribute to one of the ball players on the team. And I was very, very fortunate to receive that from Ron Romanek. So that's one of my prized possessions. So,
There you go.
yeah.
very nice.
Again,
Yeah. So one thing we haven't talked about much is what happens off the field and out of the locker room. There's a lot of hangouts. Now there's some stories, and we're going to hear some stories later. But in general, before we get to the specifics, but there's just a lot of camaraderie, a lot of hanging out. I think it's the same with Giants camp, but with the A's camp, whatever hotel you're staying in, they got one of the conference rooms reserved for the whole week, and everybody hangs out there. And sometimes there's organized events there. Sometimes it's just a general hangout. Coaches and pros will hang out. Campers will hang out. Sometimes they'll play video of the day's, whatever. If they took video of that day's activities, they'll show it up on the screen. One thing I always thought was nice was, the pros are very generous with their time, especially with autographs. You want an autograph, they will give it to you. As long as you got, the item to sign and a pen, they're all for it. So that was really cool. So I know all of us have pretty good collectible collections from those autographs.
We do.
There you go.
One of the things that JC and I like to do too is we'll bring down a dozen Major League Baseballs each, and we'll get the pros and the special guests that come in and sign them, and we'll take them back home. And at the end of our season, anybody that's on our team will get one of those autographed baseballs from a pro.
Very
We put it
nice.
in a acrylic cube, and we'll
Yeah.
pick out a shortstop. So there's been people that got Brandon Crawfords, and
Very nice.
there's been first baseman that's gotten Brandon Belts, and it depends on whoever it is. We'll pick out a good pitcher and give them a Mark Davis Cy Young
Yep.
autographed baseball,
Very
and they're
nice.
legit. They're legit.
Yeah.
Now they probably go out in the street and play with them the next day, but
I know I've picked up a couple autographs for my in-laws. I know one year that I couldn't go, and one of our campers friends, Doc Conyers, got me a Ricky Henderson autograph.
wow.
So yeah, very nice.
It
They're
is.
very nice with their time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
One thing I want to talk about next with you guys is, and you guys have a little bit more history of this than I do, but I know some of the details. Is after camp, there were a lot of guys that stayed friends. We all, we're all friends because of different fantasy camps. one of the ways that we are friends with, Marty and I are friends with Brent and JC, is because of a baseball association called the West Coast Fantasy Baseball Association. This baseball association was built from guys who went to fantasy camp and wanted their own league to play in, wanted to keep it going on their own. So they started it, and they started a league, annual league, and along with the league, they do tournaments. So we call them tournaments, but they're really 3-day weekends of hanging out and playing baseball and drinking beer.
Uh-huh.
Do three or four of those a year. But Brent and JC, what knowledge do you guys have of the origins and your origins within the baseball league that we play in, West Coast Fantasy Baseball Association?
Well, I'll let Jason go first because he was involved in the board there for a while.
Right. I was the president after Rob Weber and Richie Thomas, and the the Dodgers actually started looking to
How's that taste coming out of your mouth?
yeah, they started looking for us and looking for an association. They got a hold of John Winterstein, Barry Berman from the Dodgers, and we actually started in Commerce City, down in the LA area. We had a tournament for a while, and that one has gone away and come back. And then the Dodgers did a Bakersfield one too, for about 14, 15 years. And then Richie Thomas in 1992 started his Lodi one at Zupo Field. Tony Zupo Field, great little minor league ballpark, and it was a lot of fun. And I've been going there since they've been doing it.
Nice.
In '92 was just after my first couple of years in there, and Richie organized this thing, and they're still doing it. They're going to do it this year, as Marty said. I think on the previous broadcast, they're going to do it in August at the newly rebuilt Tony Zupo Field. They had a little fire and lost it for a couple of years, but now it's back, and we're really charged about going back. But the association and the league also started at the same time, and we do games most Sundays during the period from March to October.
We play a 15-game schedule on Sundays, spread out from, like you said, March to October, depending on how many teams we have in the league that year. We take holidays off and the tournament weekends off, and occasionally just flat out off days. But yeah, we have it organized throughout the year. What we do is we have everybody sign up for the league that has either been at a fantasy camp or has played with us as a pool player or in one of the tournaments before. And you can sign up to be a full-time player. And you, at the beginning of the year, we put everybody into a pool. We rate everybody. We get somebody who knows everybody's talents and kind of gives them ratings. And we draft teams, try to get equal playing fields across the board for each team. That way, nobody's stacked or anything like that. And we schedule the league throughout the season. Next year, everybody who wants to play goes back in the pool. We redraft. That way, the same teams aren't dominating every year. The same guys aren't always playing together. You get to learn all the other guys. You get to play with everybody. You get to hang out with different people. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anything else, Marty?
And you don't need to be a ball player, as you can tell by me being.
Yeah, that's like Marty said earlier. It's guys who have a lot of playing experience. Even guys up, I've heard of guys that have had college level playing experience, and there's guys that before fantasy camp never picked up a bat. never threw a
Yep.
ball, and
Yep.
everything in between.
Right.
And you got guys that can run really well and are in good shape, and you got guys that can barely move, and everything in between.
Yeah, that's right.
And all it really takes is a love of the game, and we
Yeah.
call getting it is the buzz
Yeah.
phrase we use, and it's simply just we're out there to have fun.
He gets
We
it.
want to win, we want to be competitive, but when the game's over, the game's over. There's no
Yeah.
trophies, there's no prize money.
There's no sponsorship deals. There's no contracts.
Yeah, it's just for the love of the game, and that's getting it.
Imagine a beer league softball game, but a full baseball league.
Yeah.
That's the attitude that this is.
And I think you're on the board, Jeff. There's still a rumor that you guys move the bases 2 feet apart every year.
Yes,
I think that's true. It's just,
yes. But only during your at bats.
There you go. I'll tell you, I only pool played a little bit because I worked 6 days a week, and Sunday the game days were my only day off to do things around the house, and so I didn't pool play. But I did go to the tournaments, and the Lodi tournament was the first one I attended, and I said, "Hey, this is pretty good. I'm going to keep going to these tournaments." Every once in a while, I pool play it down there in wherever they do it there in the Bay Area, but it's just about going down and seeing the guys and talking in the dugout with them, and meeting some people I hadn't met again before there, and it's all about the camaraderie, and we have the common love is the baseball, and so we go down there and play. It's one of the fantasy campers, Jimmy Cullen said, the Jimma. He says, we come down here and talk and meet people and say hi to our old friends, and baseball happens.
Yep. Yep.
Or Captain Steve Bennett said, "It's all about the hang," and
It's all about the hang.
Yeah,
it is. It's all a camaraderie thing. That's what we're there for, to hang out, have a good time.
It sure is.
And baseball happens.
And
maybe have a beverage or two. I don't know.
maybe so.
So if anybody's interested, before we move on, if anybody's interested in the league and our tournaments and doesn't already know one of us or one of our brethren, visit our website. It's wcfba.org, I believe, or is it .com? .org. Try both. If you don't get one, get the other. I'm ill prepared. Yes, I admit it.
It'll be obvious.
And check us out. Again, if you have done a fantasy camp or you have played in any of our tournaments, you're automatically eligible to play in our league. If you haven't done anything of that yet, but you still want to try out our league, come be a pool player. Which sign up in the website with all your information. Sign up to qualify to be a pool player. What that means is every week when there's games, all the teams that are playing, every person on the team signs up on whether or not they're going to be there that week. And if there's any missing holes, we need some fill-in players or some pool players, and we'll draft out of the pool player. Come sign up to be a pool player, get assigned to a couple games, get the feel of it, see how you like it. Trust me, if you're a baseball fan, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
So check out the website, try us out, see what you like.
Yep.
Cool. That's good. Hope we get some signups.
Yes.
We need some more players. We need young kids in there.
Yes. Yep. Oh, and
they can run for us.
28 and over. And 28 is the minimum, and the maximum is until you want to leave the field.
And we'll play a high school baseball fields usually around the Bay Area. It's regulation baseball. It's regulation bases, distances. You wearing your uniform. It's a 9-inning game. We have umpires. So it's legitimate baseball, but it's for the fun of it.
Yes.
we do have some special rules to make it so we can last through the whole game.
Yes.
Yeah, for old men to last 9
We have
innings. That's true. Good
free
point.
substitution and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So
It-
once you're out, you can go
oh,
back in. We can take a break.
Say that again, JC.
it's real baseball, only slower.
Yes.
It's like real baseball, only slower.
And we got the confirmation it is .org.
Okay.
WCFBA.org.
Cool.
Thanks, Big
And
Juicy.
one of the things that
So
go ahead, Jeff.
This would be a great time for a separate conversation, a very serious baseball separate conversation. What you drinking?
Hey, favorite part of the night. It's just
once again, we are sponsored by Almanac Beer, Almanac Brewing in Alameda, California. They're a local brew shop that does some great stuff. We're all fans. Even before they were our sponsor, we were all fans. Look at that. JC's got the swag to prove it. I'm drinking my usual. It's called True, but I'm calling it, because it's always mine, Tried and True Kolsch. Actually, JC and Brent were the ones who first turned us on to Almanac True and on the golf course, and it'll be a day I never forget.
Well, how does he mean that?
Double meaning things.
That's right. Marty, what are you drinking?
I got to go double barrel today. Right now, I'm drinking the Flow, the West Coast Pale Ale, and it's a marvelous beer. And again, I don't like IPAs. It's got a hint of it, but it's a really refreshing, beautiful bouquet, great beer. And my Dave Hall was around here earlier in these parts, and he brought me part of that whiskey barrel stout.
Oof.
Oh my God. This is the beer and a half. I tell you, you'll pop open this can and it's just, you have to remember you're drinking a beer, not whiskey, but sure smells like it. Big full bodied taste, great beer. But I'll be honest, one and done. This is not something you're going to be chugging a few. Great beer, Almanac. Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks again, Dave.
JC, what you got?
Well, since Robbie Landerman isn't here, I've got the Porch Light Lager by Almanac. You know, like a moth to a light, I'm drawing beer.
Very nice.
You have to pay him royalties on that, you know.
And Brent?
Well, I love my Kolsch, and I got the
Very nice.
True.
Very nice. Good stuff.
It was.
Thank you, Almanac. We appreciate you again.
Thank you, Almanac.
If you're in Alameda, check them out. Check out the tap house there. Check them out at your local stores. You can find it around. We do have a couple of what you're drinking add-ins.
Oh, great.
Hi, guys. I am drinking another Porch Light Lager tonight because, like a moth to a light, I'm drawn to that beer.
I've heard that before.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, somewhere.
And can't forget Big Juicy.
What am I drinking? Well, I'm drinking today Bella Bionda. It's a Pilsner, but not just any Pilsner. It's a dry hopped Italian style Pilsner. Great. A little bit more hoppy, like you expect from an ale, but it's a Pilsner from Almanac. And I ordered it online and had it shipped to the house, and it is good.
Very nice.
He's showing us up, isn't he? Wow.
Ooh.
Hey, Marty, you got a comment on your drink choice?
Uh-oh.
That must be why Marty is smiling so much on this podcast. Enjoy. Cheers, boys.
Thank you, Vonnie.
Thank you, Mike. It's a simple life.
It's a simple life. All right. So now I want to get to stories. Some actual stories from camps. I'm going to let our two guests start us off. Give us one of your favorite camp stories, Brent.
Oh gosh, I don't know which year it was, but Mark Grant was one of the coaches there, and in the locker rooms, they sprinkle at that time they sprinkled the pros in with all the campers. So I was my first year. I remember I lockered right next to Wendell Kim, and another time next to Kurt Manwaring. But Mark Grant was on the other side of the locker from me. And all of a sudden, you could hear him ranting and raving. And he was cussing up a storm, something about, you can't just leave anything alone. Somebody's got to mess with your stuff all the time. It was right here and now it's gone. And he really sounded mad. Um, he was stomping up and down the rows of the locker room looking for something. And finally, somebody said, "What are you missing?" He says, "I'm missing my toothbrush. It was right here on my chair when I went to take a shower. And when I came back, it's gone." And he's walking down past me in just his jock strap. That's it. And as he passed me, that toothbrush was stuck right in his butt cheek. It was all a setup. But we all just roared, but he sounded so serious.
Very nice. Oh wow. That's what I love about the pros are trying to have as much fun as we are.
Exactly.
They are exactly. Yes.
Yeah. JC?
So I've got a story about Mike Sadek, the legendary Sheik. And I might mention that his son, Michael Christopher, has a Facebook page, Remembering the Sheik, Mike Sadek. And everybody should go visit it because it's got some great pictures in it and some good memories. But I remember the Sheik was coaching a team, which was unusual for him back in, I think it was 92 or so. And we were on the field. I think we were the opposing team. And there's two umpires. And the Sheik disputed a call. He was rather upset with the home plate umpire. And he went up to him and he started discussing the call in not too nice terms. He invited the home plate umpire to check with his the base umpire on the call. And if you've ever seen the movie about Crash Davis,
Bull Durham.
Bull Durham, he used a certain word with the umpire and he immediately was tossed out. He said that certain phrase, umpire will support you, you know. And it's the only time I've ever seen any coach get kicked out of a fantasy camp game. I've never seen a player get kicked out, but it was a production, and the Sheik did it for purposes of having fun.
Oh yeah.
Very nice. Marty, what you got?
I'm going to need your help with this, Jeff.
Okay.
You were there. This was one of the small camps that the A's ran. It was through the Stockton ports. And it was a 3-day weekend. And we had Craig Holman?
Brian Holman.
Brian Holman was the manager. He was a pitcher for the Mariners.
Yes.
And a few of the guys on our team were there as a bachelor party. And I guess the night before the bachelor, or would-be bachelor, went out and got hammered. And he was late showing up. And you don't do that to Brian Holman's team. Like I said, it's a fantasy camp. It's for fun. But there are certain rules. And you have to learn them on your own with the coaches. And so, again, when was this? This was the spring, wasn't it? Because it was a hot day outside.
It was like May. It was May in Stockton, which isn't pleasant.
Yeah. So the punishment for this gentleman was to be the catcher in 100-degree heat for the first 3 innings. And all of a sudden it comes up for about the 3rd inning, and we can't find him. He's gone.
Oh.
He's nowhere to be found. And this was a professional field. This was Banner Island. Is in Stockton. It's the home of the is it the Single A Giants?
Single A Stockton Ports.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. So there was a restroom right there at the end of
in the dugout.
In the dugout, and that's where our catcher was, feeling the effects from the night before. Let's just say. And your noises were coming out and all that kind of stuff. So he turns to the trainer and says, "Get him out of there." And the trainer was a relative of from our friends, the Ensleys.
Yeah, he was
18
years old. He was 18 years old, training in medicine at college, and volunteering his time out here. And Holman's sending him in to get the drunk in the restroom.
just dying. So don't mess the coaches. Hey, you step on their train and you'll pay for it. So
you will.
All right, Jeff, it's your turn.
All right, my first story also comes from Ports Camp. We had a lot of fun in those little Ports camps. They're just little 3-dayers.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I know, JC. We were on teams a couple of times up there. We had a blast. So that year, Kangaroo Court the judge was Keith Comstock, journeyman pitcher for many teams, and a great guy. And anybody knows, we told you a little bit about Kangaroo Court. The most well-respected person in the locker room is usually selected to be the judge. It's respected by everybody. But also for fantasy camps, there got to be somebody who has a personality, somebody who's going to lead the group and have a good time with it. So Kami is our judge, and he calls up one of our buddies, Dave Gamson, Gamer. Those who know Gamer know this. Gamer has a very unique physical presence. He walks a little funny. He throws a little funny. He swings a little funny. It's not typical athleticism, but it's very unique. So he got struck out. He got caught looking on a called third strike the day before, and he flung his bat kind of behind him jokingly in the air. Not angry. It was, "I can't believe I just let that ball go." So Kami calls him up. He stands up. Kami proceeds to do a very perfect Dave Gamson imitation. The walk, the swing, the bat, everything. Nailed it. The entire locker room's on the floor laughing just at this imitation. So he says, "All right, Gamer." And he liked to bring on some personality out of the person to get him going and get the conversation going. "All right, Gamer, what do you do for a living?" And Gamer says, "Well, I'm a judge." Uh-oh, judge on judge. Uh-oh. All right, we'll leave it there. There's your fine. We'll walk on. Next up, he calls our good buddy Colbert Liu.
Ooh.
Colbert had a play earlier in the game previous where he dove for a ball in the outfield that was 30 feet away from him. So he calls him up and asks him about the play and says, gets him going and gets him riled up. Says, "Okay, so what was that about?" And Colbert says, "Well, Jonesy hit it, and I just really wanted to get Jonesy out."
Wow.
And he goes, "What do you got against Jonesy?" He turns to me and says, "Jonesy, get up here." What's he got against you? I said, "I don't know. We're buddies. I don't know." So, "Colbert, what do you do for a living?" "I'm an attorney." "Oh, crap." I got a judge. I got an attorney. What am I up against here? Jonesy, help me out. What do you do? I said, I'm an accountant. Finally. Great. Finally. Where do you work? And I just looked at I said, I'm sorry, but you don't want to hear this. Where do you work? The Superior Courts of California. Case dismissed. Turned around, threw his clipboard, and walked away.
I think he threw a clipboard in the air. He was just, I'm done.
Court's over. Let's go play. I mean, literally everybody. We were all sitting on stools in front of our lockers. There wasn't one stool that still had somebody in it. We were gone. We were out on the floor, running out the door. It was hilarious.
That's a good one.
And that's the kind of thing you get at fantasy camp. You get these stories. It's more than just, pitch the ball and hit the ball and throw the ball. You get these stories around it. The non-field stories are excellent. The dugout stories are great. You get to see some personalities. You get to meet tons of people.
Yep, and they all have stories, especially the pros.
Yes.
I remember we would be up half the night, just buy them another beer and tell us another story. But go on and
absolutely.
Yes.
Hindu was great with stories.
Yes.
We can miss that man. Just all full of stories. What a fantastic career that guy had. I mean, one story was said is the camp was over, and I think this was that first year, and everybody was supposed to go back to their rooms and leave in the morning, and I didn't want to go, so we were just kind of hanging around the lobby. So Hindu says, "Hey, Brownie, here, go buy some beer." Handed me $100 bill. So I ran across the street, which was actually a 6-lane boulevard in Phoenix, and came back with 2 cases of beer under my arm, and about a dozen of us sat there 3-4 o'clock in the morning just listening to Hindu and his stories. And that's truly one of the great memories I have of camp, is just being there with those people, listening to the great stories they have to say. One
of the things that we do at the camps I've been to is maybe the first or the second day, once you get your team assembled, once they draft you and you find out who's on your team, you usually go out for a team dinner.
Yep.
And it's usually your team and your coaches.
Yep.
And that's usually the best time to get to know everybody and then tell the stories. And the coaches aren't shy, or some of them aren't shy anyway, but they'll talk as long as you ask them. And we usually buy their dinners, so they're grateful for that.
Same.
And
we did that.
We've had, it's best to go to a quiet restaurant rather than a noisy one, because you want everybody to hear all these stories, and they'll go on and on as long as you keep asking them questions. What's your favorite out of town ballpark, and why, and what was the weirdest thing that ever happened to you when you're trying to get to a game, or, Mooney will tell you how he had to drive the team bus one time.
we got a similar story from Greg Catteray. How the minor league bus driver couldn't keep driving, so Catteray just said, "Screw it, I'm driving."
Well, I think Mooney took the bus because he had taken a nap, and everybody was out at a meeting, and he woke up and the locker room was gone, and he ran out with his gear, and there was a bus there, but nobody in it, so he threw his gear in there and took off towards the stadium. He was way early. And he says, that thing when you're driving a long vehicle and you say you pass the curb and you count 1, 2, 3 and then turn? That doesn't work. So they brought him up in court, and he had to pay everybody's cab fare from the locker room to the ballpark that day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ouch.
There was an old catcher by the name of Edgar Lomas Bailey, from Strawberry Plains, Tennessee.
Ooh.
He had a big old gravelly voice, and he told us story after story. He says, I came out of Strawberry Plains, Tennessee, went to the University of Tennessee, spent 2 terms there. Eisenhower's and Nixon's. Yeah, no, but he was great. He was great, and we did then the camp in April in the Scottsdale, Phoenix, Chandler area.
Mm-hmm.
And he said one time, he says, at the end of the week, he says, drank 47 gallons of water, only had to pee twice.
That's Phoenix.
Yeah. And
Well,
those guys enjoy beer too, on occasion.
On occasion.
On occasion.
One of the things back in our tournaments, when we do those, sometimes it's just Giants tournaments with a bunch of Giants teams. But we try to get other teams in there, like the team down south that JC mentioned, and some of the others. But those guys that are doing the same thing are in it for the same things we are, and we've made a lot of good friends from those other teams. And
Yeah.
we've gone to be able to play, golf at places that we normally wouldn't have, but we've made friends with these other people, and they'll, oh, come on over, we'll get you on there, so and so, and those other guys are just as good. So, if you can't get on the Giants or the A's or something like that, all these teams have them, and it's just, you just have to like baseball to join the fantasy league.
That's right.
Yep. Yep.
And we have guys that have done our camps that have gone on to do other camps. I know
Other camps, sure.
Tigers camps, Rockies camps, Cubs camps,
Yankees camps,
all kinds of things.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you've been paying attention, Marty. Dundee's been posting. He's at one of the camps in Florida. I don't remember which team it is.
Oh yeah,
this year.
Dundee.
Yes.
He was a character.
Yeah.
He was fun. Australia guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's been to 10, 15 A's camps, a Cubs camp, and I don't know
was
who
it a
else
Rockies camp once, I think?
he might have done a Rockies camp, and
Yeah.
he said for the first time he's in Florida this year, but I can't remember which team it's with.
Right. I think I want to say Tampa Bay, but I'm not sure that's it.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's global.
Give him one of those City Connect jerseys from Tampa Bay.
So JC, give us another story.
All right. Well, there's some pretty good recent stories. And this year, we sat down with one of our coaches, Joel Youngblood.
Oh, cool.
And he has a unique distinction. He got a hit for two different major league teams on the same day against two different Hall of Fame pitchers.
Nice.
He was with the Mets, and they were playing in Chicago, and he got a hit off of Fergie Jenkins.
Very nice.
And in the middle of the game, the coach came to him and said, "Joel, you've been traded. You're going to the Expos."
Yeah.
And they're in Philadelphia. And so they were playing a night game. So he figured he might be able to make it there. And the traveling secretary arranged it, and he did all that. And he took a cab to the hotel and then to the airport. Got to the airport, realized he had left his gamer glove, the one he had used for his entire major league career, in the locker room at Wrigley Field.
Oh.
So he gave the driver a big tip, and they raced back to Wrigley Field, raced back to the airport, made the plane, and got to Philadelphia where the Expos were, got into the game, and in the 7th or 8th inning, and got a hit off of Steve Carlton.
Nice.
It'll never happen again because
no.
Yeah,
you got to go through all the medical exams
waiver,
and all that stuff
exactly
before they'll sign you on and take you as a player.
but a unique story. And in his 70s, he's fit, he's active, and he'll get on your butt if you're making a mistake at bat.
He's a hitter.
He will just ride you completely. And yeah.
But it's always for your benefit. And it makes you a better hitter.
Yes.
Oh, hitter. Oh, good. Okay.
Brent, what you got?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I've got another story I can tell in this venue here. Shoot. Just oh man. I had a couple, but I'm not sure.
All right.
I want to throw something out there.
Okay, go for it, Marty.
And you again, Jeff was there. We're playing first base in one of the games, and I just was, I did it in Little League and all, but this is you want to raise your game. So I said, hey, Jack Doherty, Mr. Doherty, we're breaking for lunch, but can you take a few minutes and just kind of show me some footwork around first base? It's his lunch break too. Uh-huh. Sure. Jeff hung around, and we spent the entire lunch break. He's talking about the left foot, right foot, reaching out with this one, straddling the bag, and all of a sudden he went over the whole gamut of stuff, and you're just trying to take it all in, like trying to drink through a fire hose. And it just goes back to what you were saying before. These guys were terrific. All you got to do is ask. It's there. It's your fantasy, so make the best of it. Yeah.
And to add on to that one of the A's camp, that day that Brent talked about where you're just running drills before you get drafted, you're running drills. We were at third base, and Tony DeFrancesco, the minor league A's coach for a long time, was hitting ground balls and teaching us how to field. And the next field over was a handful of minor leaguers, A's minor leaguers. And they came over and started talking to Tony, and all of a sudden Tony turned around to him and said, "Stop. I'm working with these guys right now." Sent the minor leaguers away and said, "All right, back to you guys." And that's what these guys are. That's who they are.
Yeah.
Hey Jeff, I got a story about how I got brought up in kangaroo court once.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm a lefty, and since my sister wanted to pitch, she'd say, "Come on, let's go across the street, and I want to practice pitching." So I caught. So I had a left-handed catcher's glove, and we were out catching. I was catching my sister, and the inning was over, and we went out to the dugout, and he says, "Tetlow, you're going to play first base next inning." I said, "Okay, hang on a minute. I got to go get my mitt." And so I went and put my catcher's glove down, got my mitt, went out and played first base. And they made some switches during there, and they said they wanted me to go out to left field. So I had to go back into first base, get my fielder's glove, put the first baseman's glove down, and they brought me up in court for delaying the game, having to change mitts all the time.
All right, I got one that involves three of us on this call.
Okay.
Oh,
Stockton Ports Camp again. Myself, Marty, JC, and a gentleman named Holder, Chief Holder, San Ramon Police Chief. We're all called up in kangaroo court together.
that's right.
There you go.
Hey,
That's it. That's the team with Gil Heredia as our coach. We got called up by the grounds crew. Because of our collective weight on the infield, they had to redo the whole infield because it was tilting.
We're throwing off the field's equilibrium.
It was tilting away from you.
Couldn't keep a butt fair to save your butt, huh?
So I've got a personal playing story, and I put this on the Lowlifes page, but I was catching, and our opponents had a fellow by the name of Frankie D'Ambrosio on the team, and there was a hit to the outfield. Frankie tried to score from second, and so I got the ball in plenty of time to reach down and tag him on the feet as he slid in. The only problem was that Frankie decided to try to leap over me instead of sliding in. I managed to tag him in a very sensitive area, reaching up, and as I did, his knee hit me square in the face.
Oh,
I held, miracle of miracles, I held on to the ball, and but I don't remember much after that. And Frankie was hurting himself a little bit.
I bet.
But I was playing for Tom Haller, 92, and Tom brought me up in court for taking 2 innings off in the next game because Frankie's knee contacted my face. Now that is on the Lowlifes site.
All right.
He's sitting in the dugout next to Orlando Cepeda.
Oh, jeez.
And I am the concussion protocol completely. One eye looking this way, the eyes looking that way. It was one of the most fun times I've had, having an injury, so to speak. But it was great. But I brought up in court, and Sheik was the judge, and he asked me, "Did you hold on to the ball?" I said, "Yes." "Was he out?" "Yes." Case dismissed.
Nice.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
I want to hear Marty's Stockton Kangaroo Court story about being picked off first.
The Hall of
Again, Stockton Porch. It was the same weekend as the Asparagus Festival, so that's a big deal. That's a big party in Stockton.
And it was just outside center field. It was like right out there.
Right. So I'm on first. How I ever get on base, I don't know. It's usually not for hitting the ball. Maybe being hit by the ball is more appropriate. But I'm on first, and there's this soft liner that I shot for sure is in the outfield. So I'm taken off and did about 3 steps and realized, oh, shit. So I'm backpedaling toward first, and of course I'm out by that much. And sure enough, here's the next morning. Getting called up on this. Nuts. So I said, it was a bonehead play. And I said, Brown, explain yourself. Well, the Asparagus Festival was right over the fence there, and I smelled the aroma of a beautiful barbecue, and I was just lured by over the fence. I got away with it. I got it.
Good for you.
And
good for you.
And some advice to go with it.
Go ahead.
Pro tip.
I'll call that.
If
Go
you
ahead.
attend the Stockton Asparagus Festival, avoid the outhouses at all costs.
That's great advice.
Thank you, Robbie. Any other stories anybody wants to cover?
I just want to have 20 seconds before we sign off.
There we go.
But go ahead.
Okay, so go ahead. Say what you got to say.
Okay, because at the beginning of the A's camp, you have a welcome party. It was everybody get to know each other, and they stood up at the front. Somebody said, "We're going to do this now," and at the end, everybody left their glasses, and they says, "Here's the baseball and good friends," and everybody just had a toast. Okay, but at the end of the camp, you were changed. And ever since then, I held that in the most high esteem. So to the guys on this on this screen, to the guys that are listening, and to all the people that are going to join us, here's the baseball and good friends.
Here's the baseball and
Very
good friends.
nice.
Thanks.
On that note, let's hear from some of our viewers. Let's see who we got. Do we want to hear from a Yankee first?
I need another drink, but go ahead.
Michael Miller here from Coast to Coast Yankees. For the Yankee camp, the best moment was the first time I walked in and I saw all of the uniforms hanging up in the locker, walking down the row where my locker is. It just makes you feel like you're really going to be at Yankee camp and be a professional player or sort of professional player for the week. Great feeling.
And all
right.
of his are in multiple parts, so crack another one if you need to.
Okay.
Another great thing at Yankee camp is that every time you come back to your locker after the first game of the week, they got a new piece of swag for you. Whether it be new sneakers, new jacket, new sweatshirt, new sweats, new shorts, new collared shirt. And as you guys know, you see me in all my Yankee gear all the time. It's one of the best things about Yankee camp is getting all of that stuff every day, twice a day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very nice.
Well, my on-the-field experience, first one that I loved was first at bat was against Rich Monteleone, and he threw me a meatball, and I hit it gone but foul down the left field line. And he yelled at me, and they proceeded to throw a high fastball that I swung through. But then in the fantasy camp game at the end of the week against the pros, I came up and he said, "I remember you." And I told my teammates I was swinging as hard as I could. Well, I swung as hard as I could, and he threw me that same hard fastball, except this time I one-hopped it off the right field wall for a double. Great feeling.
Whoa.
Oh.
I feel sorry for the next guy that came up to bat.
Yeah, really.
As to league play, Lanterman, you'll have to vouch for this story. Slowest ground ball ever to Rob Lanterman. Could have been stopped even, and it still went through his legs. We all started laughing around the infield. Next play, next batter, ripped a grounder to Lanterman. Makes a great play. One-hopped it. Perfect play. We start hysterical laughing before he could throw the ball, and because he was laughing too, he threw the ball past the first baseman. Great times in that league. Great times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, from Mr. Miller.
And last but not least, with regard to league play, I do have a question, and this is for you, Weber. What the hell's going on? Why don't you ever play? Unbelievable. What, are you scared of us? Well, look at us. We're all round. We're all fat. We're all slow. We're all stupid. Why can't you play anymore? I don't understand. Is there a person in your life that forbids you from playing with your friends? Come on, Weber, play some baseball.
All right, maybe should have edited that one out.
Yeah.
How about Mr. Big Juicy?
One of the top stories I have is from my initiation rookie fantasy camp. It was Monday night, and we were going to go out. We didn't know what was going to happen, except the guys brought in, the assistants, that is, a wardrobe of women's dresses. So we picked out the one we liked best, got dressed up, and we went out to Duke's Sports Bar and Grill and had a blast at that place. Quite a bit of entertainment for the other folks that were dining there.
That's one thing about fantasy camps is they may not always be PC. So you have to kind of have a thick skin on you, but none of it is meant to be negative. It's all meant to be fun and to have a good time.
Yeah.
One more for Mr. Juicy.
Probably the highlight for me at camp was facing Trevor Wilson, and I lasted about 10, 11 pitches, I think, just fouling him off, a couple of real strong foul balls, and finally got rung up on a backdoor curveball because they had to move things along. I was taking too long. Later in the clubhouse, Trevor comes up to me and laughing, and he says, you lasted as long as you did is because I didn't go to bed last night. Well, I had seen him at 2 o'clock in the morning at the bar. He never went to bed.
That's Trevor.
Yeah.
And Robbie.
Hey guys, I'm going to get serious, which is highly unusual for me. But in all honesty, for me, the thing with Fantasy Camp is the lifelong friendships I developed. At the end of the movie Stand By Me, the narrator is writing the final words of his book, and it's something to the effect of, I never again in life had friends like the ones I had when I was 12. Well, this fantasy camp and baseball league has given me exactly those kind of friends, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Amen.
Very nice.
Here, here.
Somebody I think Robbie knows.
One thing I'd like to add is that as a wife who attended fantasy camp to watch her husband live out his dream of playing on a professional field with a bunch of guys and meeting some of his idols in the Giants baseball camp, is that I also got to attend and socialize with the guys and the professional players like Mike McCormick. And
looks like she got cut off.
Yeah, she's got it. She's got to follow up.
Yep.
I'll never forget Mike McCormick sitting at the bar, and just he and Rob and I sat there and listened to his wonderful stories, but he got to show me his Cy Young ring and let me put it on, and I was just starstruck. And I think of Davy when we were there. Davy was one of Rob's coaches along with Mike McCormick, and it was just fabulous, and it's just so great.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mike McCormick was a true
and
gentleman.
I also can't go without saying that I also have become friends with all you guys that are all in the baseball league, and wives and girlfriends and in-laws and sisters and brothers and everybody alike, and it's just become a very big family. And that's one of the things that this fantasy camp brings. It extends entire families to reach out to one another.
Nice.
Very true. Very
Right.
true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've kind of hinted around it, but we've never said it directly. This ain't just men. Women are very welcome in this group.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't let that hold you back. Come out and play with the boys. Show them up.
And some do. Angie said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the last Lodi tournament. I was playing right field, and she belted the ball, and I just could have turned and ran.
Yeah.
Tanner Balls as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was
In Lodi we had a all women battery.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're terrific.
All right.
At fantasy camp, there was like 8 women at one time. At one
Very
really?
cool.
Same camp. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
That's great.
And our usual host has something to say.
Okay, gang, I want to know the best pranks you saw at fantasy camp. My first year, I saw the 3-man lift, which you probably have to describe for the audience. And I also saw a guy have his entire uniform frozen solid and run up a flagpole. Tell us your best ones.
Well, my best ones are the same thing for Maze Camp, the frozen uniform and the 3-man lift. So can anybody describe the 3-man lift joke?
Absolutely. It used to be Sadek who used to be the one who did it, and Mike was a smaller guy, and we had a guy in camp. His name was Estrada, I believe, and he told Vida that he could hit, he could take him out of the park, uh, and he was just a blowhard, always saying that stuff, and so Sheik says, I bet I can lift 3 guys. Estrada, what do you think? And he naturally said, no, you can't do it. So we got Dave Haberlow, the tuna, who's 300 plus pounds. We put another guy, forget who it was, on the other side of him, and they locked arms. And Sheik starts to muscle up and do everything, and he he grabs at Estrada's belt because he's in the middle, locked in, can't move. And then all of a sudden, all the clubbies come out of the clubhouse. He undoes his belt, his pants, and they throw talcum powder and atomic bomb and everything they can throw on him, and just everybody laughs because Sheik was never going to lift him anyway. But it was still funny. And frankly, it worked a little bit on him because he was much nicer when he came back the next year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we had the same in A's camp with Shooty Babbitt being the instigator, saying he could lift 3 guys.
And he's a weightlifter. He's probably still is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Any other good locker room practical jokes?
Well, during rookie hazing night for the rookies, like Big Juicy was talking about, they gave them all dresses, and we went to the restaurants with them, and we had a good time with that. One of the rookies decided not to participate in that event, and that's kind of a big no-no. So they had the games that day, and he went to his locker, he got dressed, and then he got done. He took off his uniform and put it in the basket, and they took that away. He went into the showers, and when they went into the showers, they cleaned his locker out of everything and left his dress. So he had to go home from the ballpark with just that or nothing.
Very nice.
Yeah,
He did learn his lesson.
he learned his lesson. You show up on rookie night.
Yes. So have a thick skin and go in with good intentions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fun.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Yes.
Yeah. There was, just real quick, after you play a number of games, a double headers. So about on the third day of the double header, we were breaking for lunch, and sometimes, like Jeff said earlier, the minor leaguers will show up to get a workout. And we came back from lunch, and we we're going back out to the field, and one of these guys was an outfielder, and he was warming up, and he was in right field, and he was just lobbing the ball. It seemed like just a nice, easy throw all the way to home plate, right, and hitting the catcher in the chest every time. We've been playing ball for years. I felt like my wrist was hanging down by my ankle, and you're just watching this guy throw the ball so leisurely, and you're saying, I can't do that. I can't do this. There's a reason why he's there and I'm here. And that's always etched in my mind. I went,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
All right. Do you think we've covered fantasy camps?
I think
we've done a pretty darn good job. I hope
you got to go and make your own memories.
Yes. We obviously encourage everybody who hasn't been to go try it. It's a lot of fun. Check out the Baseball League, West Coast Fantasy Baseball Association. Give us a shot. We're all about having fun. We're all about the hang. Come hang out with us.
Yep.
I want to send a special thanks to our 2 guests, Brent and JC. Appreciate you guys coming out and
Thank you for
joining
having us here tonight.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Can't wait to hang out with you guys in person next time.
Yep.
And that's all from us. Once again, thank you, Almanac. Thank you to the Mic'd Up app. Check out all the other shows on the Mic'd Up app, and we'll be back most likely next Wednesday, 6:00. Topic to be determined. On that note, thanks everybody. Appreciate it.
You.
Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
All right.